All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. So guys, the NFL offseason, it's basically come to an end. We're getting right to the end of it. Training camp's been well underway. We're kind of getting ready for the season that's starting in just over a month. The Hall of Fame game starts in a couple of days, which is the first preseason game, which means Leonard Fournette's got to get on that treadmill fast. I mean, guys, we're at the point where we can talk about and assess who had the best offseason, and that's exactly what this video is for. So I have compiled this beautiful PowerPoint presentation that I hope you will enjoy. I thought about every team's offseason with the combination of who they picked up in the offseason as a free agent, trades, drafting, everything put together. What 10 teams had the best offseason? So that's why I made this top 10 list. The top 10 best off seasons in the 2022 NFL offseason, or going into the 2022 season. Guys, make sure to comment your opinions. You might not like mine. This might be controversial. It was tough to rank them, but we're going to do it anyway, guys. Make sure to comment your opinions. We're going to start with number 10, the Philadelphia Eagles. They had a great offseason, and it started, and the main reason why it started and is the reason why, basically, A.J. Brown, the trade they made on draft night to get A.J. Brown. Yes, they traded a mid-first round pick, but A.J. Brown is a legit number one receiver, which will help Jalen Hurts out a lot. He will accommodate Devontae Smith a lot. A great 1-2 punch, I think they will be. He's going to make Jalen Hurts better. I think Jalen Hurts could be a good breakout candidate this year because of it. And they had a great draft as well. Jordan Davis, the Georgia nose tackle superstar in college, I think has superstar potential in the NFL. He's going to help that front line, along with Nakobe Dean, who I think was a steal, really good linebacker in college, really will help that somewhat lackluster Eagles defense, the two main guys they drafted here, and A.J. Brown, of course, great addition. Eagles had a phenomenal offseason. They have an outside shot at the NFC East title. I'm telling you, that division's always unpredictable. We move to number 9, the Atlanta Falcons. I am high on the Falcons. I made a TikTok about how the Falcons are going to surprise some people. I'm not saying they're gonna, win the Super Bowl, even make the playoffs, but they're not going to be that bad. They got Marcus Mariota, who's actually a good change of pace to Matt Ryan. It's about time to get a mobile quarterback, change up the offense. They also drafted Desmond Ridder, who is a good backup quarterback. If Mariota doesn't do well, he might have some star potential. Maybe he steps in and does pretty well. Who knows? They have maybe a future guy there. And Drake London, my favorite receiver from this draft class, 6'5", huge frame. The guy is going to take a lot of pressure off Kyle Pitts. He's not going to get doubled as much. Obviously, Calvin Ridley's not coming back, so Drake London will be a good receiver to take the pressure off Kyle Pitts. And I think that's going to be a fun offense to watch. And of course, they re-signed last season's breakout player of the year candidate, at least, Cordarrelle Patterson, who's obviously, he can be their running back, he can be a receiver. And, I think the Falcons offense is going to be exciting, and I think they did a great job this offseason improving their offense especially. We move to number 8, the Buffalo Bills. The Bills were very deserving of making it to the AFC Championship game, but we know that this is a legitimate contender of a team with Josh Allen and company. But what do they do this offseason? They get Von Miller, the Super Bowl champion, the two-time Super Bowl champion, going to help that defensive line a lot. I think despite the defensive metrics that favored the Bills defense, saying that they actually had a really elite defense, I think it was a little overrated against the great teams. It wasn't that good. I think he's going to help their front line a lot, improve their defense. Roger Saffold, really good offensive lineman, going to help that offensive line hopefully improve their run game a little bit. And then Kaiir Elam, who's a great corner that they drafted. James Cook, high potential running back, could take the job and be the number one bell cow back for this team potentially. He's got a lot of potential, and I think he was a great draft pick for sure. So the Bills had a really good offseason. We move to Motown, the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions get DJ Chark in free agency from my Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, DJ Chark, he's a really, really good offseason addition. He might be risky because he was injured last year, broke his foot, missed basically the entire year. But this guy's 6'4", he's athletic, he's strong, he's fast. He's a great deep threat of a receiver. He's going to help that team a lot, I think, if he's healthy. And they had a phenomenal draft. Jamison Williams, the Alabama star receiver, he did tear his ACL in the national championship game. That's why he kind of slipped to them in the mid to late first round. And I think him and DJ Chark are going to be an exciting 1-2 combination. And Aiden Hutchinson at number 2 overall is kind of a steal, with the Jags risking it and taking Trayvon Walker. Aiden Hutchinson stays in the state of Michigan, and he's going to be a force right from the beginning, I think. Don't sleep on the Lions. A lot of people think the Lions will be somewhat respectable this year, and I tend to agree because they've had a really, really good under-the-radar offseason. Then we move to the Miami Dolphins, number 6 on my list, because, look, the obvious reason, they get Tyreek Hill, maybe the most dynamic, unstoppable, speedy receiver we've ever seen, or at least he's up there. We know how great of a receiver he is. Cedric Wilson is an underrated receiver acquisition as well. He's going to help Jalen Waddle, and so is Tyreek Hill, obviously. That's a really good 1-2-3 at receiver, I think they have. Then you get a veteran offensive lineman in Teron Armstead to help protect Tua, turn the ball over, Tagovailoa. So it's all up to Tua. Can he use these weapons and turn the Dolphins into a contender? Because with their defense and all they have, they were almost a playoff team the last couple years. They have what it takes, I think, to be a sleeper contender. Because they had a great offseason, they got star power, and hopefully Tua makes that jump. I really do. Then we have the New York Jets, and they are solely in the top 5 because they had maybe the best draft. First, we got to talk about Laken Tomlinson, an underrated offensive lineman that the Jets signed. And the Jets have a really good offensive line now. With Mekhi Becton, let's hope he's healthy. This is a really, really good offensive line to support Zach Wilson, just as long as he stops sleeping with older women and focuses on football. We'll see. I think Zach Wilson has a lot of weapons here. They draft Sauce Gardner 4th overall. They get Garrett Wilson, a potential star receiver out of Ohio State. They steal Jermaine Johnson late in the 1st round, and Breece Hall has star running back potential. They are on here in the top 5 strictly because they had a phenomenal draft. So I think they deserve to be in the top 5 for that reason. We move to number 4, the Cincinnati Bengals, the AFC champions. Look, they needed to address one very, very obvious thing, their offensive line, and they did that without going crazy on the budget. They budgeted, they spent wisely. They didn't get the biggest, sexiest names out there, but they got the right names. Alex Kappa, Ted Karras, Lyle Collins. These guys are going to help. These are 2 guards and a center, going to help their offensive line a lot. Hopefully fix their problems, protect Joe Shiesty, and I think that's going to make all the improvement that they need. Daxton Hill, they got him in the late 1st round out of Michigan. He can play safety, he can play corner, and he can help the Bengals secondary because it wasn't elite last year by any measure. So I think the Bengals, look, they were a contender, but they realized the flaws that are holding them back from winning a Super Bowl. They addressed those flaws, and for that reason, I got to give them credit for getting exactly what they needed. So that's why they're the 4th. They've had the 4th best offseason. Then we move to the black hole, the Las Vegas Raiders, who don't need a lot of key additions. They got Devontae Adams, the best receiver in football, in my opinion. Undisputably, so obviously the best receiver, pried him away from the Packers, and they get Chandler Jones to really help their edge rushing and their defensive line because outside of Max Crosby, they didn't really have another formidable pass rusher. He's going to be a great addition to that team, really help Max Crosby out a lot, make that defensive line significantly better, so they get a phenomenal offensive player and a phenomenal defensive player, 2 stars, and that's really all they need. I think that division is going to be tough, but the Raiders did anything and everything basically this offseason without needing to do too many moves. They just made 2 big splash hits, and that's all it takes in my opinion, to be a top 3 offseason team. Then we have the runner-up, the Baltimore Ravens. I personally think the Baltimore Ravens had the best draft out of any NFL team. First, they had a pretty good period of free agency as well. They get Marcus Williams, a really good safety, Morgan Moses, the offensive lineman, Michael Pierce, a really good nose tackle. That's going to help their team a lot. They draft Tyler Linderbaum, clearly the best center in the draft. They needed a center. They needed to improve their offensive line. They did that. They got Kyle Hamilton in the late 1st round. Kyle Hamilton, the safety, was projected to be a top 5 pick in a lot of mock drafts. They steal him and get him in the late 1st round, which unbelievable job by the Ravens. Then they get David Ojabo, a star linebacker who got injured in college towards the end of the season, which is why he fell to them in the 2nd round. But this is a 1st round, maybe even a top 10 talent that the Ravens got. So the Ravens Ravens had basically 3 steals with their draft picks, their first 3 picks. Unbelievable draft for them, and they got 3 really good free agents as well. This team could make a big leap this year. They could definitely win their division, and I think they're a contender. I mean, the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, they always have a shot. They're always a playoff team, but you know what? They had a phenomenal offseason, and I got to give them credit for that. So, guys, who had the best offseason, in my opinion? Well, I thought about it, but I couldn't come to any other conclusion other than this team. It could be none other than the Denver Broncos. It's very simple. The Broncos were in no man's land in terms of quarterbacks, okay? They had nothing at QB, so unexciting, no potential for the future in their QB position since Peyton Manning retired. It's been years of mediocrity, and they finally made the splash hit of all splash hits to fix that quarterback problem. Russell Wilson, the future Hall of Famer, he's going to make all the difference in the world for the Broncos, and Randy Gregory is obviously a great defensive end, right? He's going to help that team, that edge rush a lot, especially that pass rush, especially since they lost Von Miller. And Nick Bonito, who was a steal, I think, in the second round of the draft, another pass rusher. These 2 guys, I think, are going to at least somewhat compensate for the loss of Von Miller. But the big picture is Russell Wilson is a Bronco. The Broncos, I felt, had the defense and a lot of skill position players that were good enough to be a playoff team. But the one thing holding them back is the most important position, arguably, in sports, and that was the quarterback position. They finally addressed it, and that's all it takes, guys, in my opinion, to put the Broncos as the team with the best offseason, in my opinion. But that division, the AFC West, is going to be all-time great with the Broncos, Raiders, Chargers, Chiefs. You could argue these are 4 contenders. Who's going to finish in last? I don't know, but we're talking about a playoff caliber team, a team that is definitely going to be above 500, I think, finishing last. Who knows who it will be? But I don't know, guys. I think all 4 of the teams in this division have a decent shot to be, I guess, are somewhat contenders, no matter what. I mean, it's crazy. This division will be fun to watch. But, guys, those are my teams, the top 10 best off-season teams, in my opinion. Let me know, guys. Who do you think had the best offseason? Rank your top 10. Put it out in the comments. I want to see what you guys think. Like the video if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you're a sports fan, NFL fan, and you haven't done so already. I think you'll enjoy this channel. And guys, I will see you all in the next one.